Hey guys, welcome back to our resume website tutorial series on Turbo 360. In part 3 of the series, we set up some minor customization on the top of the home page. In this video, we're going to continue that process and we're going to add some more custom configuration to the overall website. And yeah, that's it. So here I am in the root directory of the project. I am going to run the dev server just to make sure everything is still working. So let's head over to localhost 3000. Let's reload this. And here's where we left off from the end of the last video. So you may recall we configured all this from the home.json file so that we can quickly make changes very easily and efficiently. So we can continue that process throughout the entire website. However, we're not going to want to use the same configuration file all the time. So for example, if you look down here, these icons don't necessarily belong in the home.json because they should show up on every page in this particular site. So what we really want to do is have another configuration JSON file that applies to every page on the site, and in this case that is going to be the global.json inside also the pages directory. It's a regular JSON file just like the home one. The only difference is that it applies to every page on the site. So what we want to do is identify which components of this website apply only to one particular page versus every page. So another example might be this title right here. This is the title tag inside of the head tag. And so in reality, that should be in the global section because this shows up on every page of the site. So if we go to the global, let's say title, and then that should be the name of the person, Bruce Wayne, whose resume this is for. So then we can use this and as the placeholder for the title that shows up here. Now, if you go back to the index route, you will see that we on the home page request, we fetch the home config right here on line 15, and we pass it off to the data object as the page. But then we also fetch the site, the current app from our Turbo deployment, and we use that to fetch the global, to establish the global. So the important thing here is that the global key in the data object is where all the global variables are stored. So what that means is if we open up the head partial and we want to change this, we want to access the global key and then the name variable. Let me just make sure that's what it is. Title, excuse me. Not the name, the title. And then this is what should show up in the head tag, title tag, excuse me. And then in reality that should also show up here and here. So let's go ahead and double check that. So if we relaunch the server and then we reload the page, now we see Bruce Wayne over here. And then if we actually look at the source code itself, we will see that the name of the site, the title, is applied throughout those placeholders. So the global key is the one that's setting these values rather than anything from the page configuration. Right now it doesn't really matter because it's only a one-page site, but in further videos in this tutorial we're probably going to add more pages specifically for the blog. So we want to make sure that whenever we do that, these values are carried over to the subsequent pages of this website. So, and that's also going to maintain with the sidebar because this should also show up, this sidebar should also show up in any page of the site. So let's specifically work on these social icons over here. So if we go to the global JSON, let's create a new key called social. And let's create an object for that. And right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 social networks: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that would be Instagram. No, so LinkedIn, Instagram, and Behance. So let's create a key for each one. Facebook, 2, 3, 4, 5. Twitter, Instagram, I'm getting those mixed up. LinkedIn. Instead of Behance, let's just do GitHub. I don't think too many people have Behance. Okay, now let's find these icons in the actual sidebar. So let's punch that up. So that is a partial, if you recall. That is a sidebar partial. And then here we have the icons. These icons are what determines what shows up here. So let me see if they have a GitHub icon just in case. Oh, they don't even have one, so GitHub's not even an option. Let's try YouTube. Oh wow, it's not too good. All right, so we'll just go with those 1, 2, 3, 4. So this guy is going to have to go. Okay, so let's create a key for the icon. For each one of these. Now, it's entirely possible that whoever is maintaining this website doesn't even have all of these, right? So what we want to do is create another key for each one of these called visible. And this will determine whether or not that particular social media icon should even show up. And then finally, we should have a URL key. And then for now, we'll just link it to the actual home page. And in reality, these should be linked to the actual profiles of the person maintaining the site. So now we can use these values to determine what shows up here. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's start with the Facebook one. So if we have a social key inside the global configuration, we do global and then social. And then we have a Facebook key. And then we only want to show it if the visible Boolean is set to true. So we do visible, and we do a hashtag right here, and then we copy and paste that, but put a slash right here. So what that means is that if this is set to false, none of this will even show up. So that's how you determine what is visible and what's not. And then here, we want to do the global, social, Facebook, and then the icon. And that's determined from this key right here, which will set the icon value, which determines literally what we see here. And then here, last but not least, we want to do global, social, Facebook, and then URL. And then we can link it to the actual Facebook profile. Normally this should show up in a separate window because we don't want the person to leave the site. So I'm just going to do that right there. Now if I reload this page, I should see the same thing. And there it is. However, now if I set the global configuration for Facebook to false, that should, wait, let me just fix this. I don't know what's going on here. False. That should make it disappear. And it's gone. So now we can apply the same, apply the same properties to the other icons. So now we have Twitter, 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 LinkedIn, LinkedIn, and then LinkedIn, and Instagram, and now if I reload the page, all of them should show up again. Whoops, did Facebook all 4 times, so that's no good. So let's see what we messed up, what I messed up here. So Twitter, icon, Instagram, Instagram. So what do we do here? Let's see. Oh, forgot this. Okay, I forgot to switch the icons. So my fault. So Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. There we go. And then if I click on one of these, it should open that particular social network inside a new window. And that's what we want. So now, given that we have that working, we can then just update the global JSON whenever we want to make a change to the URL or the visibility of a certain social network. So if I don't have a Twitter account, I can just set that to false, and then once I reload, the Twitter should go away, and there it goes. So very nice. So like I said earlier in the previous video, there's a little bit of upfront work to do here at first, but once that work is done, maintaining the site becomes much easier. So in this video in particular, we made use of the global configuration option as opposed to a specific page, the home page in this case. Keeping in mind that the global configuration is reserved for values that apply to every page on the site. So pretty much everything here should be in the global configuration. We also have a logo as well as the menu options for each one of these. So that's the difference between the global configuration JSON file and a specific page one. And that's pretty much it. In the next video, we're going to continue configuring some of these home page sections. So we're going to fill this out a little bit more, same as this, and start working on some more content that is variable for the site. Meaning by that I mean something like this, which is a blog, which is a little bit different than your page configuration options. So this is going to require a little bit more of a sophisticated way of handling the data, and this is where our API is going to come in. So this is a blog, these are blog posts, and this is why we selected the resume template when we scaffolded the project, because this project in particular already comes with a few database schemas that we can use right away, right off the bat, to create dynamic data like blog posts. So we will be getting into that in the next video as well. So hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully you got all this working. Let's do one last thing. Like I said in the previous video, we should end every video with a deploy just to make sure everything works on staging as it does on local. Okay, great. Now keep in mind, we also made changes to the global configuration JSON object. So we have to do one more thing. We have to do turbo, page, and then the global, the name of the configuration, and that will update the configuration on the staging server as well. So now we can go back here and check the staging deployment and make sure everything looks the same, which it does. Fantastic. Now, like I was saying earlier, making changes even on the actual staging server is very simple. Let's say we want to get rid of the Twitter social network. We can just set that to false, and we can do turbo page global again, and that'll take care of it. It'll just change the configuration, and by reloading the page, the Twitter icon should disappear. So this is the idea. Like I said, there's a little bit of upfront cost at first, but once you make the connections properly, making updates to your site should be very, very quick and very easy. So hopefully you got that working on your end as well. And in the next video, we'll continue filling out this theme with the configuration JSON files and start diving into the more dynamic data like these blog posts. So hopefully everything looks the same on your end. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.